Hey guys, just a quick little update. I started doing videos in this channel after a very, very long time. I just did one, I think, last week. And one of the things that lately for me has been very difficult is just to be consistent with these videos. And a lot of it has to do with just things are changing, right? Things are advancing, things are different than they once were. Um, just life psychologically, physically, just everything in general. So I'm going to try my best to kind of give you guys updates. And today I want to talk about why the documentary is about what it is. So I want to talk about documentaries. I think I'm going to do videos about me attempting to make a video game and stuff like that. So you'll see stuff all over the place. It's probably not even going to make sense. You may not even like it, whatever. This channel doesn't really get any views, and does not much happens with this, so it is what it is. I've ignored it for a very long time, so it's my fault. But in terms of the documentary, the movie title is Stigma: Firearms and Mental Health, and the whole idea of this is to simply have a conversation about um, that mental health and self in firearms, mental health and firearms, not self-defense, mental health and firearms. Why this conversation? One, a lot of you guys maybe already know that watch this channel. Some of you guys are just stumbling upon it and don't know about it. And it's one, I'm in guns. I'm a gun person. I am a pro 2A individual. That turns a lot of you guys off. A lot of you guys like that, and that's why you guys follow me. Um, but I'm a gun person. One thing that we must understand as gun people is that a very easy way, unfortunately, for people to commit suicide is with firearms. One of the vulnerable things is that have for a very long time not really enjoyed life. I don't like life. I don't enjoy life. Now, for me, it's not a very depressive, I'm gonna kill myself thing. For me, it's very much a I'm aware of how I feel about life. I'm a nihilist. I really, me personally, for me, don't truly believe there's a purpose for me. I don't believe there's a purpose for life. But I live it because it affects other human beings, right? My presence, even if just temporarily, it affects other human beings. And I think that's where I kind of put the weight of my existence is it somehow affects other human beings. Now, people would call that purpose. And for me personally, like, well, we're all going to die anyways. And from a physics and planetary perspective, the earth is going to be gone at some point. So like it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I hate to be so such a Debbie Downer when I'm trying to talk about this topic, but that's my why, right? It's depressing for other people to hear, but for me, that's my why. It's a motivation to understand that other humans don't see life the way that I see life, and they bring a hard stop to it for a variety of reasons. And I think that's a conversation that needs to be had. Your presence and your absence, even if it's just temporary, even if in the long run, in 1,000 years, it's not going to matter. It affects other human beings, and I think this is a conversation that simply just needs to be had. I also don't believe the government does anything to solve this problem. When it comes to policy and policy making, suicide is one of those weird things where policy really doesn't affect much. We can sit here and maybe debate and agree or disagree about murders and about gun violence in general, but when it comes to suicide, it's unfortunately one of those things where you can't legislate how somebody kills themselves. How do you punish that? There's no punishment. um, so I don't believe that legislators can do anything about it, and a lot of them pretend like they are doing something. At the same time, there's a lot of groups and organizations that are doing very valuable work in this area. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't want to sit down and have a conversation, but that's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to the people who are affecting change in this area, the people who are having this conversation about suicide and firearms, and how they're trying to lower the number of humans that commit suicide in general, but also do it with firearms. That's a conversation that's changing in the gun community, but I still think the gun community, by and large, ignores it. They kind of turned a blind eye to it because it's not a sexy conversation, right? A lot of you guys are turned off by this conversation because it's a very difficult conversation, period. And I get it. I am not a fan of having this conversation because then I have to reveal my truth. I have to reveal how I feel about stuff. And then my fear is that you misunderstand my thought process, and you go off and you tell the government about how Edgar doesn't believe his life matters, but it's not a for me it's not a drastic thing. So it's difficult to have the conversation. There's other people that are in my position that maybe are at that point where they don't want to live anymore, for their own reasons, right? And they're afraid, if I go and talk to somebody, the stigma that comes with it. Because now there's a social. Now there's now my friends look at me differently. My coworkers look at me different. I may lose my job. People are going to come take my guns, and then I don't have rights, and then I can't go have fun with my friends, and it becomes this whole ordeal. And for a lot of these humans, it's just one additional thing as to why life sucks. Life sucks because of a variety of reasons: the economy, divorces, whatever, right? Like, you add whatever it is that makes you sad. And then on top of that, you add, if I go seek help and this becomes a thing, I can lose more than what I am gaining. There's more loss to that, from a economical standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a just continuing to live life standpoint. And I think there's a lot of groups that are trying to end that. Walk to Talk America certainly is one of those organizations. They are helping clinicians talk to gun people so that gun people are not as afraid to go to them and have these conversations. So those are the type of groups that I want to highlight. Firearms injury prevention here in the state of Colorado. There's a nice core of human beings that are sincere about reducing negative outcomes with firearms. So I want to highlight those with this movie. I don't want to just talk about suicide and guns. Like, we know it happens. The numbers are there. We just want to talk to the people who are actually learning on how to mitigate this issue, learning how to reduce negative outcomes with firearms. In this particular movie, it's about suicide. My previous movie, which admittedly was probably a really bad documentary, but it was my first one. This is my second one. It's going to be significantly better. I didn't know what I was doing. One could argue I still don't know what I'm doing, but it's something that I want to do. But the first one was just violence in general, how gun violence gets ignored more so in urban communities, with minorities, and how politicians manipulate the numbers and only focus really on mass shootings, but don't really worry about where it happens a lot. So that was the first documentary, and you guys are welcome to go check that out. But yeah, that's kind of what this documentary is about: mental health and gun ownership. I think it's an important conversation, and I think it's also important to highlight the humans that are trying to affect change. I think that's very important, and that's something we should highlight and something we should celebrate. So again, I must repeat, my own nihilism and my own yearn for the urn is not a depressive, so to speak, type stuff. I have people that I can reach out to and talk to, and I have, and it's nothing like that. But like it is for me, anyways, a reason why, like, oh, this conversation needs to happen, because I feel it. I feel it. I understand it. So it's a very important conversation to have. So, anyways, hopefully we get to make it. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully you guys enjoy it when it does come out. Hopefully you guys share the stuff. That's been the biggest struggle. In another video, I'm going to talk about what the struggles are in filmmaking and all of that stuff. So yeah. Anyways, hope you guys like it. Hope this means something. Share it if it does, and if it doesn't, fuck it, don't share it. Keep it to yourself and hide it away, and don't tell anybody about it. But